Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. Bitcoin dipped back into the support zone. Yeah, could not hold that micro setup or nano setup. Zoomed out, not much happened, but it obviously invalidated the, let's say, nano setup, micro setup that we talked about. Bitcoin showed a potential 5-wave move up here on the micro level, yeah, but that support that the price offered, basically the structure, didn't hold today. As you know, we talked about that already in the previous video. So in this video, we want to talk about the different potentials that we still have and the structures that could play out here. I'm looking at two main scenarios here. And the situation overall hasn't changed at all. The only thing that happened today was the invalidation of the micro setup. Now, I'm not a great fan of following correlations, but today this, let's say, sell-off happened when the US stock market opened and the SPX basically sold off as well. Yeah, and SPX could be very, very, very close to a top. It's going to be a very important week next week, not only for crypto, but also for the S&P 500. I mean, you can never say, you know, they correlate, because sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. Obviously, today they did. Last week or so, they didn't do so much. But yeah, it's something to consider, because if correlations continue to be high, okay, or if they are correlating, if the correlation coefficient is high, well, then they would likely move together. And SPX is a key marker for market mood, for social mood, and yeah, crypto might listen a little bit, so we have to watch that. But again, you know, we can only really analyze the Bitcoin chart. We can't really analyze the other chart to draw conclusions for Bitcoin, because, you know, either support holds or not, and Bitcoin has clear parameters. The chart offers very, very clear parameters. It's one of the clearest crypto charts, just obviously not so much on the micro level, but that's just because we're dealing with a correction. That's always the case in a correction. These are never really clean, you know. So looking at the chart here, we have still two scenarios, one short-term bullish, one short-term bearish, and there's a key level that distinguishes between the two. Now let's take a look at that. Before we do that, just wanted to make you aware on Twitter, on X, feel free to follow us there on the weekend. Again, I did that last week for Pepe. I will analyze one coin specifically in a video update only on X. As I explained last week, we want to bring people over to X, to Twitter, just because, you know, it doesn't make sense to have everybody only following, let's say, on one platform. We need to grow the other channels, communication channels, just because, you know, if something happens, we need to be able to communicate in different ways. You know, this world is getting more and more dynamic, more and more uncertain. You know, regulations are changing, so it's important to decentralize. Okay, not only your finances, but we have to do that communication-wise as well. So there are additional bonuses, updates, and all sorts of stuff here as well. So feel free to check it out. Just make sure that you use only, or you follow only the channel with a blue tick. Okay, there are impersonators. We will not send you a direct message or anything. Okay, there's only one account, and we would not message you directly. Okay, so let's go back to the Bitcoin chart now. I just need to find it. That's going to be the challenge. Oh, there you go. Okay. So short-term bearish count has become a little bit more likely today because one micro setup failed, but not unlikely. Okay, so the short-term bullish count in the yellow scenario indicates that what did I say? Sorry, completely confused now. So the yellow count is the short-term bullish one, has become a little bit less likely today due to the invalidation of a micro setup. Okay, so wave 4 could have bottomed here, and that was on the 1st of May, no change, 5 waves up. Okay, but we can only say that we have really bottomed here on the 1st of May if we get a 5-wave move up and a 3-wave pullback, which stabilizes and then creates another impulse. And, you know, with that breakout, we can then say, okay, this 1-2 setup worked out. That in turn means that the wave 4 likely bottomed. However, so far, as you can see, we haven't got that price stabilization yet in the support area. Very, very important. So at the moment, we cannot call the correction complete. Yeah, I haven't called the correction completed yet, for good reason, because the situation is still very, very uncertain. That basically means you can't trade too aggressively, in my opinion. At least be on the side of caution. This is still a correction. Most people lose money in corrections because they try to trade every single wave. I told you many times how this could be traded, okay? Many times, like scaling into the main support area. There's really only one reliable support area here on this chart, and that's been reliable for nearly 2 months now. It's between 50,700 and 61,760. You can scale into the support area, and then when there is a rally, you can take some partial profits. You know, when the market makes a corrective rally available, makes profits available through a corrective rally, it makes sense to scale out. And then, yeah, especially if the rally is corrective. Now, you know, we're now in a support zone within that larger support zone, but that's sort of, you know, just there in the background. The main one here is, as I said, between 50.7K and 61.7. But looking at the short term to identify if we've really bottomed, the price needs to hold 58,360. Now below that level, then the short-term bearish count will become more likely. And that's the white count, fairly balanced probabilities. Still watching for yellow to possibly work out, but it's highly questionable. Okay, and yeah, below 58,360, that is, let's say, that's the line in the sand. The white count should send the price down to the next fib level, which is at 55,377. And then we've got the 100% extension level of the A wave, which is a key target for the C wave at basically 54K, just below that, 53.8. So that's a key zone to look at for the next sell-off. Okay, obviously, as long as we're holding 58,360, we could see the market move up from here. But for me, that situation is far too uncertain at the moment to have a strong leaning for the yellow count. It was looking quite good, but the market couldn't hold that micro setup. And ideally, this correction is going to finish before we break below 50.7K. But overall, in recent weeks, the situation hasn't changed. We're tracking, yeah, any impulse to the upside. If one shows up, I'll highlight it to you. This one looks like 5 waves, but again, it could just be wave C over B wave, and then therefore this could easily be a 5-wave move, and it is not enough to see only 5 waves up. We also need the 3-wave pullback, which then holds a higher low in the support region. Yeah, that's my update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.